Dear. Hey, Bunny.
How are you?
I'm good, dear. How are you?
I'm okay.
Are you hanging in? All right.
Yeah, hanging in there.
Good, good. I was just telling Betty. This is Betty. Betty. This is Bunny. Bunny and
Hi,
Betty.
Bunny.
Hey, Betty.
I was just telling her. Oh, Ronnie's here. Hi, Ronnie. I was just telling everybody how I wasn't sure how many people were going to be on with us live tonight. It seems like everybody's so crazy busy with the holidays, and a lot of times it's easier just to get the video, but it's always fun to do a live class too and be able to talk to you guys. So um, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I don't know how many people are going to be jumping on, but I want to get started before we fall asleep. That's why I think I mentioned to you guys I might start having the classes a little bit earlier. I know I've got quite a few classes scheduled now through, I think I'm going into March now. I'm finding all these cool things that I want to do. And I think I'm going to start maybe having classes at like 7 o'clock for us old people who can stay up that late.
That'd be fine with me.
So, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Let me plug my battery in here. It's just once I get dinner ready and everything for the kids and get everything cleaned up, it's, sometimes 7 o'clock is difficult for me, but some days I think it'll be doable. So let me ask you guys a question before I get started. As you can see, I have a work wreath form here, which I'm really beginning to like a lot. I like the fact that when I go to put my mesh on, this one's only got one. This one's broken. Look at that. There's only one. There's only one piece. How am I going to put my mesh on there? I'm going to have to call Craft Outlet and complain. I just noticed that. There's only one. I'm going to have to get another tie and put that on there. But what I was about to say before I discovered my faulty work form is that I'm starting to like them a lot more because, number one, and here I am, I'm in my bed getting a pipe cleaner here. Number one, the pipe cleaners don't move around on these things. If you'll notice when you're attaching your own pipe cleaners, they have a tendency to kind of slide around.
Yes.
And you have to either hot glue them, or sometimes what you can do is you could take there and put it around two, like that. Sometimes that helps them if you put it around two of the bars there. Sometimes that helps it not to slide around. But I have to add another pipe cleaner here because there's only one on there. So that's not going to work when I want to put my mesh on. Betty, did you get your pipe cleaners on? I know that you had asked me how to do it. I can show you.
I got them on, but I don't like the fact how they move around.
Yeah, that's why you're gonna pay. I get mine from Craft Outlet now. This is a work wreath form. They're a little bit more expensive. I think they're like $5. It depends on what you get. This one's a fluffier one. You can see how the ties are kind of fluffy. And the reason why I like those is because they sort of add to the finished wreath. You don't have to worry about like hiding them when you're done because they're so fluffy and pretty. These are a little bit more expensive. They have something called the pencil work wreath forms, and the pipe cleaners are thinner. They're thinner like these, and those aren't as expensive. But the main reason why I like these, obviously, is because they don't slide around. I think they're wired on or something. They're really on there. They do not slide around. And the second thing, you're going to get a much fuller wreath because, as you'll notice, look how raised that wreath form is. It's not flat at all. Hey, Joyce.
Hey,
Hey, honey, how are you?
I'm okay. And you?
Good. I was just telling you how I like the work wreath forms better now.
Oh, yes.
Don't slide around, and it's raised up higher, so you get a much fuller wreath.
Yes.
So I kind of saw, I'm going to mute everybody here quick, and then if you have a question, you can unmute yourself. But I saw something kind of neat. Let me see what else we have here. Sherry Cannon's here. Hi, Sherry. I saw something kind of neat that I'm going to use in our class on Wednesday for our sunburst wreath. And I'm going to send you a pic that I found. Someone has a really unique way of attaching their pipe cleaners. If you're going to be making your own wreath form, and I want to show you a picture of it because it's really neat. What he does, and it's going to be kind of hard to explain it without actually showing you. But what he does is he takes his wreath form. Let me see if I can get a blank wreath form here. Hold on. Going into my closet here. I'm almost out of wreath forms here too. I bought like 15 of them from the Dollar Tree one day. This is your Dollar Tree wreath form, which a lot of people buy, obviously, because they're cheap. But I saw a neat trick that this guy did when he was going to attach his mesh. Let me try to find some more pipe cleaners here because I want to show you what he did real quick. And what it does, he says, is it keeps your pipe cleaners from moving around on your wreath form. I'm just going to grab a white one because I have a white one handy here. What he does, and I'm not even sure if I can duplicate it, he takes these two inner bars here, okay? And what he does first, he does this around the whole wreath form, is he weaves it. And let me see if I can figure out how he did it. I'm trying to duplicate what he did. He takes one end of the pipe cleaner and he goes around the second bar and he just wraps the end of it around that crossbar so it's stationary, okay? And then what he does is he takes his pipe cleaner and he weaves it up and down like this. Let me do it first and you can see. One whole pipe cleaner, he weaves it up and down around. See how I'm weaving it like that? See that? He takes one whole pipe cleaner and weaves it up and down around those two bars. And you have to make sure you leave enough so you can attach the other end to that other cross section and twist it around so it's stationary. And then what he does is he takes his, this is what we're going to do for the sunburst wreath, okay? When we make our sunburst wreath, if you're going to be attending that class, we're going to be taking 10-inch pieces, 10 by, I believe it was 6-inch pieces of mesh. We're going to be making a little, it's almost like a flower petal out of it and attaching 3 of them together and putting another pipe cleaner around it. And he takes the pipe cleaner and he attaches it to these so they don't move because this is stationary. So I thought that was kind of neat. If you can see what I'm doing there, but that's what we're going to be doing for our class on Wednesday. And I think that might not be a bad idea for anybody that's making a wreath form, because if you're attaching it to your bar plus this, it's not going to slide around. This sort of keeps it stationary, if that makes sense. That's the first time I ever did that, and I don't think it looks bad. But I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Other than that, if you're going to be making your own wreath form, the only real way to keep it from not sliding is just to glue it. Put a little bit of hot glue, and that also doesn't always work, but I find these from Craft Outlet. I just started actually using them a couple of months ago, and I love them now. I just, I really do. I have some other wreath forms that I have to use, and I'm going to be adding pipe cleaners to those because obviously they don't have pipe cleaners, but and if you are attending Wednesday's class, I will show you a picture of that, how he did that wreath form. That's what we're going to be doing. All right, let's get started here. So what this is, if you've got a bunch of 21-inch mesh laying around and you're not real good at the pouf method, I'm not a real big fan of the pouf method, I'll be honest with you. I like ruffles. I like the way a ruffle makes a wreath nice and full. Let me just close this real quick on my screen here. I like how ruffles make a wreath look nice and full. I like the way ruffles look, but the last thing you want to do when you have a roll of 21-inch mesh is cut it down the middle. It's just a recipe for disaster. I don't care if you use a wood burning tool. I don't care if you have the sharpest pair of scissors in the world. If you cut this mesh down the middle, it's going to fray, and it's going to fray terribly. And I learned that from experience, and it's not fun. Nobody wants to deal with frays. So I actually found this method, and I used it in a wreath in our second class. It was a Halloween wreath. And this is the same exact method, but we're going to be doing a Christmas wreath. You can do anything you want. You can do Easter, you can do spring, you can do, summer. So basically all you're doing is you have your 21-inch mesh. It's 21 inches long, and you cut it into a 10-inch piece, okay? Excuse me. All you're going to do is, obviously, you know how mesh just likes to roll in on itself. That's fine. Let it do that. Take your piece and kind of fold it in on itself. It's already starting to roll in on itself, so just, your goal is to keep those cut ends in. If you have to roll it, if you have to fold it. I kind of like to roll it a little bit in, and then I fold it and flatten it. So you're flattening out that piece of mesh, okay? And now all you're going to do is fold it in half, okay? So what you're going to have, and you pinch it in the middle. So what you're going to have is, you're going to have a ruffle or a little spiral, whatever you want to call it, on one end, and you're going to have a pouf on the other. And that's how you attach it to your wreath form. And you're going to alternate it. So I don't know if I want to do 2 per tie or 1. I need to see how many pieces I have. But typically you only need 1 because you've got a 21-inch piece there. So the first piece, you kind of want it to go in like that. You don't want it to be sideways. You kind of want it to be like that. So the first piece I'm going to put on, and you can pull out your pouf a little bit too. But just be careful not to let those cut ends show. So the first piece, I'm going to have my ruffle on this side and my pouf on the other side. And then the next one I'm going to do the opposite. And I think we're probably going to have to do 2 per tie. We'll have to see how that goes. Let me grab some more here. And that's really all it is. I don't want my cut piece showing though. Make sure that you put that part down. Do I have a cut piece showing? I think it might, because this has got a lot of metallic in it, this mesh. I think it's just some of my metallic pieces coming off a little bit. This is an ombre that I got from Craft Outlet, and it's really metallic. And you're going to find too that the metallic meshes don't fray as much as the regular standard mesh. So just kind of fold it in again. Make sure those cut ends are going in as best you can. You don't want them to show. Hide those cut ends. Fold it in half, and then pinch it. So you have a ruffle on one end, or a spiral, and your pouf on the other. I wish I had counted how many pieces I have, because I think I want to do 2 per tie. I think that's what I'm going to do. So you've got one going this way. You're going to want to put the other one the other way. So your pouf is this side, and your ruffle is this side. So you're just going to go right on top of the other one. So open your tie back up again. And put this on top. Make sure it's even. I like things to be even. Hold on, it's starting to unroll on me here. So this one's just going in the opposite direction. Pouf on the inside and the ruffle on the outside. And that's it. You can kind of crisscross them if you want. See that? And that's it. So we're going to do 2 per tie. Because I just decided that at the last minute, because I think it'll look better that way. I can't remember how I did the last one, my Halloween one. It was so long ago. I think that was like in August that I did that one. That was my second class. I think, Bunny, you've been with me since my second class. I can't remember. Ronnie, I think you were too. That was the Halloween one. Fold it in half and pinch it in the middle. That's all you're doing. See that? So let's see. So I'm going to start with my ruffle going this way now. I'm just going to alternate. And again, if you have gaps, if you're worried about that gap there, we can go back in and we can fill that in with more if we need to. So now we're going to go the opposite direction. That's why it might be better if you kind of crisscross it like that. That way you'll fill in any gaps there. So crisscross that second piece. You see how I did that? I put my second piece on top, I crisscrossed it. Yeah, these work wreath forms are great. I really like them a lot. Just fold those cut ends in.
Are we going to be using the inside things to put the mesh on?
What's that? I missed that first part.
Okay, the inside ring, are we using it also?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, doke. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sherry Cannon's saying something. Hold on here, because I don't think Sherry's got a speaker. Hold on a minute. Oh, Sherry says, I love this. I have quite a bit of the 21-inch mesh. I don't care for the poof method either, so I've been needing a new method to use. This looks much neater and tidy. It certainly is, Sherry. It definitely is. In my book, anything that requires less cutting is an awesome method. I don't know, for me, I've done some poof wreaths, but I always feel like I can't get enough coverage and my wreath form shows through, and I hate that. I'm just going to go in the opposite direction. I'm just going to crisscross it. I'm going to open up your tie again here. And that's already really filling in nicely by crisscrossing it like that. And then we're going to be putting ribbon in too, and that helps to fill it in. This is a really metallic mesh, very shiny. Let's see, where do I start now? Okay, my ruffle's going to go on this side. If your cut ends start to pop out, just tuck them back in again. I can't believe that Christmas is a week away, you guys. It really creeped up fast. Doesn't have to be perfect. So just try to remember what you started with the last time. Okay, the last time I had my ruffle going this way, so we're going to go up with it this time. And one roll of 21-inch mesh will make a beautifully full wreath. And you can't go wrong, you know, money-wise, because how much you pay for one roll of 21-inch mesh? What, $10 maybe at the most? It's a very economical method too. And a lot of times, if you're doing just a pouf and you have a roll of 21-inch mesh, you generally have to add, you know, ruffles in between, because it just, in my opinion, it just doesn't cover the wreath form enough. So you're going to end up spending more money on more mesh. So I'm kind of rolling, folding is really all I'm doing, more or less just trying to get my cut ends tucked in. Now this is the one where I had to add the extra pipe cleaner, so start this way. That's the first time that's ever happened. I've never had a defective work wreath form. Another thing is you don't want to pull your pouf out too much, because you don't want to pull your cut ends out. You can fluff it a little bit. I have a lot of rolls of 21-inch mesh. Let's see. This way. This way. I had the best time the other night. I don't know who's on my friend's page, but I went with my sister-in-law and her sister and her mom, a couple other people too. We all went to we have an old theater in Rome. I live in Rome, New York. We have an old theater here called the Capitol Theater. And they were showing It's a Wonderful Life. And I love that movie. I don't know who doesn't like that movie. And it was the first time I had seen it on the big screen, and it was really so much fun. But the theater is it's a historical landmark in Rome. It's very old-fashioned inside, and just love that old theater feel. And of course, I cried at the end. I always cry at the end. The minute he's back on that bridge, and he's alive again, and he's saying, I want to live again, I want to live again. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm crying. And I cry all the way to the end. I'm such a sap. And the funny thing is about that movie is that I had heard a lot about people loving it during the holidays. And I really just saw it for the first time, like maybe 3 years ago. I'd never seen it. Now I watch it every year. I like that, and there's another holiday movie. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's just called Holiday Inn. It's got Fred Astaire, and it doesn't have Ginger Rogers. I think Bing Crosby's in it too. That's right. That's another favorite that I like for the holidays. If you've heard of that one. That's actually, people think that White Christmas is the first movie that Bing Crosby sings White Christmas in, but it's not. It's Holiday Inn. That's the first time he sings that song. So there's your little bit of trivia there if you didn't know that already. And of course, we have an all-day marathon here starting Christmas Eve, and they play A Christmas Story like for 24 hours straight. I'm trying to find some new and like unique things that we can do. I know everybody, and we have a lot of new members joining us that, really want to learn all the different methods with Deco Mesh, and that's totally fine. And I'll take suggestions too. If you guys ever want to suggest a certain idea for a wreath, or it doesn't even have to be a wreath, I'm open to doing other projects too. Centerpieces, obviously. We don't just have to do wreaths, so my door is always open, hypothetically speaking. You can always send me ideas if you see something on Pinterest or you see something anywhere and you want to try it, send it to me. So I'm trying to find just like unique ideas for things. If you guys maybe want to see just a class on using the wood burning tool, I could do that. We could do a class on just bow making. Just let me know what you want to do. And, I'm not always the one that has to decide. I know in the very beginning, I was putting polls in the group, like I was taking surveys. I should probably start doing that again. I was giving people choices on different things that we could do, and everybody would vote on what they wanted to do. I might start doing that again. Because, there's certain things that people want to learn. They maybe want to get a little bit more practice with. And that's really all it takes, to be better at something. Anything is practice. So here I am with my first row is done, and it's pretty full. That's just the first row. I'm just trying to tuck my cut ends in here. But honestly, once you attach it to your wreath, it's not going to fray anymore unless you tug at it. If you do see a spot, like when you're done, if you find that you had extra mesh left over and you see like a bare spot that you want to fill, there's nothing wrong with adding another pipe cleaner. I know I've said that before. I got to see how many pieces I have left. If I have any extra left, I might go around and add some more. So I'm just getting my ties straightened up here on the top. And I'm going to start adding it to the top. This one's really curling. This must be one of the inner pieces. It looks more like a snake. I still want to do a topiary too. I want to do a mesh topiary. Those are really pretty. You know, I'm wondering if I'm even going to have enough to do 2 per tie on the top. I might just do 1. I think it'll be full enough just doing 1, but let me see how much I have. I'm just going to, I did 2 on that one. I'm doing 1 on this one. I'm going to continue around just doing 1 on each tie on the top. Or in your case, I say the top because my wreath form is a little elevated. The inside ring. You might not have enough to do 2 in each tie on the top or in the outer, on the inner ring. So let me just do 1, and if I have more left over, I'll go around and I'll add another 1. It's been a while since I did this method. It's been, like I said, August, I think, and I can't remember. I couldn't remember if I did 1 per tie or 2. So I'm going to do 1 and see, and if I have left over, I'll go back around again. I like to kind of fluff them so they're going up. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have enough to do 2 per tie on the top. So if you are satisfied with how yours looks with just 1 ruffle per tie on the top, then leave it that way. Or if you feel that you need more and you have extra mesh, I only had 1 roll of this, then certainly feel free to cut some more and add some more. I'm almost positive, though, the last time I did this, I only used one roll. That's why I only told you guys to get one roll. Yeah, actually what I did, this is how it worked out. I have 2 in one tie, the first one I put up here, and the rest have 1. But you know what, you're not even really going to be able to tell that it worked out that way. I think sometimes when I'm cutting, because I'm using the wood burning tool, my measurements might be off a little bit, so I think maybe some pieces might be a little bit wider than 10 inches. I discovered that when I was doing my poly burlap tree, because if you did the poly burlap tree yet, you'll notice that if your pieces were not exactly 10 by 10 inches, that I don't even have any ties left. I thought I had another tie, so I'm going to have to add a second one to one of these ties. Well, here it is. You're going to find that when you're doing your poly burlap tree, if you haven't already, if your pieces are not exactly 10 by 10 inches, your folds won't look right. They won't fold right. So I actually had to go back and recut some of my poly burlap pieces because they just weren't, some pieces were 11 inches and some were 9, because I went a little bit too fast when I was cutting. So that's that. So the way it worked out for me was I have 2 all the way around the bottom or the outside in each tie, and I have 1, except for 1, I have 2 in one of them. I have 1 in all the ties in the inside, and that looks like it's enough for me. Again, if you don't think yours is full enough, I don't really know how it looks with the plain form that doesn't have the ties already attached. If you're using a Dollar Tree form, it's a little bit flatter. You can certainly, cut some more mesh and add another ruffle or a piece of mesh to each of the inside pieces. How does yours look, Betty? Does yours look full, or did you get done yet, or are you still working? I don't think Betty knows how to unmute herself. That's okay. But that looks pretty full. I like that. What do you think, Miss Bunny? I think that looks pretty full. And we're going to add our ribbon too, so I like that. I really don't want to stop making Christmas wreaths. I'm a little bit sad. I want to keep making them. Let me get a little drink. Now, I can't remember what I told you guys as far as what length to cut your ribbon. 13 inches would probably be good. That's typically the length I cut my ribbon strips for my wreaths, but when you're doing a wreath like this, or my other wreath I had that had the 30-inch ruffles, or even the no-cut ruffle, these wreaths are so full that you're going to want to cut your ribbons 14 inches, okay? Just because you're going to have an awful hard time getting your ribbons to lay right if they're too short. They're just going to want to stick straight up, and they're not going to want to lay the way you want them to lay. So what I did, I have some really pretty ribbon here that I'm going to use. I got this from Joann's. I just love that. And I have this pretty red and green polka dot. I think I got that from Home Goods, believe it or not. And I've been waiting to use the Sam's Club ribbon. I haven't used the Sam's Club ribbon yet. So I have a lot of really pretty ribbons. And I did my standard thing that I do. These are all 14 inches, and I cut some extra strips at 16, and I did not dovetail the ends. They're still flat, so I can make my little bow tie in the middle. If you've seen my other videos, you see how I like to do that. So that's what we're going to do. Now, typically I only add 2 ribbon strips per tie, but I like these 3 ribbons. I want to see how they all look together, and I'm going to do 3 per tie. And I don't usually do all the ties with ribbon. I like to do just the outside or the bottom, because if I'm going to add a sign in the middle, it's entirely up to you. I know a lot of people like to do ribbon in all the ties. I might even go back and add more, but right now I just have enough cut to add. I have 10 pieces of each, and that'll cover all my, I think I'm going to do it like this. And that'll cover all my outside or my bottom ties. So you kind of lay them on top of each other. Some people like to fold it in half like that so they can make sure that they find the center. And that's where you do your pinch.
Hi, Christine.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the lengths of your ribbons that you've cut?
Like I said, honey, I can't remember what I put in my supply list, if I put 13 or if I put 14. You're going to want to do at least 13 inches. These are actually 14. I cut them a little bit longer only because this wreath is just so poofy.
Right.
You might have a hard time getting them to lay the way you want them to lay if they're too short. But I think
Right.
13 would be good. Like I said, I apologize. I can't remember what I put in the supply list.
Mine's not poofy.
Your wreath isn't poofy?
No.
Well, it might be because you don't have the work wreath form. Like I said, you guys.
Oh, I do. I have the work.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
You have,
But I'm not near finished, so that's
oh,
probably.
yeah. Do you, and you're putting 2 per tie?
Yes. Yes.
Like I said, I didn't have enough to do 2 per tie on the top, but you'll get there. You'll get there when it's filled in. It'll be poofy.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I have my 3, and that looks pretty. That's going to be a very colorful wreath, which is what I want. And the thing that you want to do with your ribbons is you kind of want to take your fingers and curl it. You want it to be, you don't really want it to be sticking out like that. You don't want it to be going out straight. I see some wreaths like that. You want it to kind of hug your mesh. So you're kind of curling it over with your fingers. That's how you want it to look. Sorry, Joyce, I didn't see that you raised your hand before, honey. It's better that you just unmute yourself and ask your question. That way I'm not always looking at my screen. I know Sherry Cannon doesn't have a microphone, so she types her messages in. Let me just close that. Okay, so you want to kind of curl it. Like that. So, boy, it's warm in here. Where do my kids have the heat set at? Woof. So now I have my 16-inch piece. You can choose any one of your ribbons to do this with, as long as it matches one of the ones that you have. Fold it in half so they overlap, so your pieces overlap. I want to make sure they overlap enough so when you pinch it and put it in your twist tie, it's not going to pop out. And I just love this method for making like a little bow tie in the middle. I just think it makes it look so cute. And you can see by the work wreath form what I mean. You can leave that little puffy piece showing. You don't have to worry about hiding it because it kind of adds to it. And that's it. And there's our first ribbon bundle. I like the way those ribbons look together. I've gotten a lot better at picking out ribbons. I used to have a real problem matching ribbons when I first started. I couldn't figure out what ribbon would go with what, and I really would stress over it. But, you know, it is true what they say. It does just take practice. When you start doing it more, it's just going to come naturally to you. It will. And a lot of times, I don't even really know how a ribbon is going to look on a wreath until I put it on. I've put some ribbons on wreaths and then taken them off because I didn't like the way they looked. I don't really know if I have a good sign to go with this, though. I'm like out of my Christmas signs. I have to go see what I have. I have a snowman, but I'm not quite sure if he'll match. There's that. Have your 16-inch piece. Fold it over. Pinch it. Make sure you have enough folded over so it doesn't come out. Just a couple of twists. I like to see my mesh. That's why I typically don't add ribbon tails to the inside as well, because I like to be able to see it, especially when it's a really pretty, colorful mesh like this. I like to be able to see it. I don't want to cover it. I've heard that I think Michael's and Joann's has their ribbon at 60% off, 60 or 70. I may have to go over there and stock up for next year. I do a lot more of my ribbon fluffing when it's hanging on my wall. for some reason, it's a lot easier for me anyway to fluff it when it's hanging up as opposed to laying down. You can put little ornaments in the middle if you don't want to do the bow ties. Whatever you like. Okay, let's see. How you doing, Miss Betty? How's your wreath looking? Everybody's so quiet. They're so busy working. You can see how it's just so poofy. Sometimes your ribbon doesn't want to lay down the way you want it to. That's why you want them to be a little bit longer. If they were too short, they would just get hidden in your ruffles. Oops, I'm about to lose my ribbon. I need a bigger table. 4 more to go. Need to have my kids turn that heat down. They're killing me in here. Somebody's making tea. My kids like to drink tea at night. Actually, it's my son. He's a tea drinker. I have tea once in a while. I like my coffee. I'm a coffee girl. Okay. I need to get over on this side for a second so I can see. It's hard when you're standing over it, like I said, on the table. I do a lot of my fluffing on the wall. Around the corner, almost done. 2 more. Oh, now they got the dog howling again. So you get a ruffle that's sticking up so high and your ribbon doesn't want to lay over it. That can be annoying. Last one. Boy, that's pretty. I like the way those ribbons look. I do.
He has a,
Somebody have a question?
she gets the pre-tied wreath forms that kind of stay still better than mine. So there you go. It's huge, humongous.
Yes, it is.
I don't know where I'm going to hang it. I'm not going to give it away though. I work too hard.
Okay. Last bow tie. Again, if you don't want to add the bow ties, you can put a little ornament in the middle. Whatever you like. And I'll go out and I'll fluff my ribbon some more when I'm done, but oh, let's see how that looks. What do you think, you guys? I think that looks pretty. I think that looks nice and full.
Very pretty.
It's so big I can't even get it in the camera. Do I get a thumbs up or what do you think? Whee!
Very nice.
Thank you. Now I got to see if I have a sign. Sherry Cannon is saying something. Hold on, Miss Sherry. I need to get back over there. Aw, thank you. Miss Sherry says, love this wreath. Can't wait to make one. I can't wait to see it. Yes, and I want to do centerpieces too. We're going to definitely do a centerpiece. Maybe we'll do a centerpiece for Easter. Okay, I need to go and see. I have a snowman sign. I'm like, I like right out of my set. Oh, actually, you know what? I have this one. I wonder how this one would look. I just happened to look up on my wall and I see this sign that I got from Dollar Tree earlier this year. This 'tis the season to be jolly sign. You can kind of see that. What do you think about that sign? I think I might need to add more ribbon though if I put this sign in the middle because there's still room there to add more ribbon. I need to look at that and see if I like that sign. I'm gonna do my little leaning thing here. Whoops. That's the only way that I can tell. Yeah, I like that because it's got the reds and everything in it. I kind of like the way that looks there. I'm just going to do a temporary little hanging job here with one of my pipe cleaners. See if I like the way that looks. And I might need to add some more ribbon, like I said, because this sign's a little bit small. I'm going to hold it up for a second so I can see how it looks. And it's drooping. I need to hang it a little bit better here. Sometimes what I like to do is just tuck my signs in right inside the ruffles. And sometimes the ruffles kind of hold the sign in place. But this one's a little bit small. That's not going to work. I'm going to have to attach this somehow with pipe cleaners or some glue. What do you think of that sign, guys? You think that'll work? Or I know it's kind of bright in here with the light. You think that sign will work? Or should I find a different one? Any feedback at all? Nobody's saying anything.
Looks good to me.
You think it's big enough, Bunny?
Yeah, because you don't have, that's not really, you don't have a lot of open space in after you have your mesh in.
Right. Do you think I should probably add more ribbon around here or no?
No.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to typically put a lot of ribbon.
I tell you, some of them have so much ribbon you cannot tell if they have used mesh at all.
I know. I've seen people comment, is there mesh under there? Is it all ribbon? I've seen that before. You know what I might even do? Maybe I'll even just add like a couple of bow ties here and there.
Yeah.
You think so? I think that would look cute. Maybe not more ribbon tails, maybe just some bow ties.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah, that'll look good.
Don't make sure you tell me the truth, Miss Bunny. I value your opinion.
Okay.
I do.
The
Because it's got red in it. This sign's got the red in it. I don't think I have any signs left that have red in it. My snowman is white and blue, and I don't think that would really fit. But I think that looks good. I think I'm going to fasten that in, and I'm going to use this one. Can you see that, or is the light too bright? Can you see what that says? It says, "'Tis the season to be jolly." I think I got
yes.
$1 from the Dollar Tree. What are we doing on time here? How are we doing? Only 9 o'clock. This was a really fast wreath to make. For some reason, it seemed like it took me a lot longer to make this wreath. How's everybody else doing? How you doing, Joyce and Betty, with yours? Everybody's busy working. Nobody's talking. I think Sherry's saying something again. Let's see what Sherry says.
Well, I didn't cut my ribbon, and I haven't picked my ribbon out, so I've got my base done, and it looks good. It's really big and full.
This makes a very full wreath. This method makes a very, very full wreath.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hot glue some pipe cleaners to the back of this sign. It's very light, and then I'm just going to tie it into place, and then I may just add a few more bow ties here and there. But this was a really fast class, you guys. This wreath didn't take very long to make. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, I feel like I don't want to let you guys go yet. It's only been an hour.
Yeah, it went quick.
It did. I guess I'm working faster now.
Maybe we're just getting faster.
Yeah, maybe. You did yours though, buddy? You finished yours? You just didn't put your ribbon on yet?
No, I don't have my ribbon yet.
Okay.
I hadn't picked it out.
I picked mine out probably a couple hours before class. That's when I picked mine out. I asked my daughter for her opinion, then I picked it out, and then I went with it. So I think they look. I've been waiting to use the Sam's Club ribbon. So this is the Sam's Club ribbon. I've had that for a while. I was either going to use that or I was going to use the Merry Christmas one. I've had this Merry Christmas one for a while too. So anyway, guys, if you don't have any questions, I guess it's going to be a short class tonight. We can definitely do this method again. You can use this method with any theme, Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day. If you have 21-inch rolls of mesh that you want to use, it's really a good way to use it without, doing the pouf method. You can do a ruffle. It's actually a ruffle and a pouf. So, all right, guys, I'm going to clean up and I'm going to glue my sign in, and then I'll take a picture and I'll post it.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Sherry Cannon. Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Have a
Good
great
night.
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 Good night.